All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. For 2 decades, the New England Patriots were the most successful franchise in the NFL. From 2001 to 2019, New England didn't record one losing season while they also brought six Lombardi trophies back to the Boston area. But oh, how things have changed in Foxborough as the Patriots have only enjoyed one winning season over the last 3 years, and the bottom has fallen out here in 2023. At 2-8, the Patriots are well on their way to their worst season since the days of Rod Rust and Dick McPherson. And anybody who's old enough to remember that follows the Patriots knows that those were definitely dark days. Now, I'm not the only person who said it. I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. Without Tom Brady at quarterback, Bill Belichick is looking like an average head coach. Mac Jones, we all know Mac Jones is not the answer at quarterback for New England, but Belichick has not done this young man any favors either. Um, Obviously, Josh McDaniels was the coordinator on the offense when Mac Jones was drafted. Since then, of course, McDaniels got the Raiders job, took it, and has been fired. We all know. But then you think back to last year where it was a co-offensive coordinator format for the Patriots with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as the co-offensive coordinators. Matt Patricia has made his name in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball, and Joe Judge was a special teams coach. And these are the guys, if you're Bill Belichick, that you entrusted to develop your young quarterback. Obviously, that was a recipe for disaster. Now you went away from that, and you've brought in Bill O'Brien to technically. Mac Jones has had four different offensive coordinators in 3 years. I'm not going to go out there and compare Mac Jones to Dan Marino nonetheless. But I will ask anybody out there what quarterback could succeed if you're talking about four different offensive coordinators in just 3 years. Now, the game has not passed Bill Belichick by, but I definitely think it's time for him to adjust because it's one of those where you obviously a lot of people are going to want to focus or at least on the incident yesterday on the sidelines in Frankfurt where Bill O'Brien chewed out Mac Jones after the interception. Don't get me wrong, it was a bad play. Mac Jones was not playing well in that game. Mac Jones has not really played well all season. But it's situations where the time has evolved. Okay. And I'm not sitting up there. I know, like, listen, there are times for tough love. I know there's a times to put your arm around a person. I totally understand that, but it's just the fact that the mentality of Tom Brady was able to master this for so long. And okay, that worked for Tom Brady. That worked for a different generation of players. It's not going to work the same for these players. That's number one. And I really think that it's time for that quote unquote Patriot way like that for them to move on from that. Also, for me, and I'm not the only one who said this, and I've said this before on this podcast, Bill Belichick can no longer be the general manager of the Patriots. And I say that because his ego has gotten the best of him. And honestly, his ego got the best of him from when he initially wanted to move on from Tom Brady back in the mid 2010s. And he didn't do a good job. Probably the last 3 or 4 years during Tom Brady's tenure, and of course now, as far as putting talent around the future Hall of Fame quarterback, and now we're seeing it, and now it's really caught up to him. Because I mean, let's be realistic. How many times have we tuned into the NFL draft and we've seen the Patriots either A, trade back in the first round, or B, select somebody in the first round that nobody's heard about from a college that nobody's heard about either. And it's one of those where, listen, if you follow the NFL, if you've been employed by the NFL, whatever, you know that your first round picks, those need to be guys, those need to be impact players from you from day one. You can't really go out there and have a developmental project, if you will, because you're worried about your system. You got to go out there and find impact players. And for far too long on Belichick's watch, the Patriots have indeed wasted those first round picks. Now, with that said, Robert Kraft, the Patriots' longtime owner, and his son Steven, they're going to have to make the ultra tough decision sooner rather than later. And that tough decision is it time for them to move on from Bill Belichick? And I think it might happen. I mean, you're looking at Belichick right now. He's sitting on 300 career wins, third all time. He only needs 29 to surpass Don Shula. Of course, the only coaches ahead of Bill Belichick in the all-time wins list in the NFL is Don Shula and, of course, George Halas. But with that said, I think Belichick, excuse me, might end up getting the same fate that he has done to so many Patriot players over the years. Look, Tom Brady wanted to finish his career with the Patriots, and he wasn't the only one. There are plenty of other players who wanted to go out there and finish their respective NFL careers with the Patriots. But they were traded, they were cut. Bill just said, you know what, it's time to move on. It's business, you name it. Okay, but at the end of the day, he might be getting the same fate because yes, Robert Kraft, I do believe in his heart of hearts, and I don't know the man personally. I do feel that he would love to see Bill Belichick surpass Don Shula while he's a head coach of the Patriots. But I don't think Robert Kraft can afford the luxury to have his beloved franchise languish in futility just to keep Bill Belichick around to chase this record. Now, I know that Bill Belichick did receive an extension from the Patriots to begin this season, but at this point, I think Robert Kraft, might just pay Bill Belichick to go away. And I don't think he's going to come out and publicly fire Bill Belichick. It might be a scenario where you're going to say, hey, make an announcement and say we've mutually agreed to part ways. He's not going to fire Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is not going to resign. So I think that at some point a resolution will be found. It's a scenario where I think Robert Kraft is going to take back control of his team rather, and I think the dawn of a new era is here for the New England Patriots. And being that Bill Belichick is under contract with he's going to still be under contract with the Patriots. I think it's going to be a scenario where, hey, if Bill Belichick does want to continue coaching in the National Football League, and I do believe that he does, Robert Kraft is going to get some draft compensation, some financial compensation from another team for him due to the fact that he is still under contract with the Patriots. It happened, of course, with the whole Bill Parcells fiasco when Parcells left the Patriots after '96 to go become the head coach of the New York Jets. And then, of course, when Bill Belichick left the Jets to become the head coach of the Patriots. I guarantee you, Robert Kraft is going to get some financial compensation from whomever decides to employ Bill Belichick for 2024. But in my opinion, I think that his final days in Boston are around the corner. The Patriots right now, they're spiraling towards a top five pick in the upcoming draft. And it would be the first time, if that were to be the case, that New England had a top five pick since they selected Willie McGinnis back in 1994. Of course, in back to back years, 93 and 94, the Patriots had top five picks. They used the first overall pick in 93 on a quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, and then in 94 on Willie McGinnis. And because of that, and because the Patriots are expected to be picking so high in the upcoming draft, this, in my opinion, is going to be the most important off season for the New England Patriots on Robert Kraft's watch because he needs to find somebody who's going to turn things around. He needs to go out there and get a general manager. He needs to go out there and get a talent evaluator, somebody who's going to go out there and not just find short term impact players for the Patriots. He needs to go out there and find somebody who is going to find long term solutions within this draft for the New England Patriots. And it starts at the quarterback position. Mac Jones walked into a very difficult scenario. Mac Jones, I know he wasn't the first official starting quarterback for the Patriots following the post Tom Brady era, but nonetheless, he was a guy who was drafted in the first round. He was a guy who was expected to come in and be the guy, but it's one of those where it was a totally and it has been a totally different scenario for Mac Jones than he was accustomed to. You think about his time at the University of Alabama, of course, when he helped the Tide win a national championship there. Mac Jones was throwing the first rounders like Devonta Smith at wide receiver every day in practice, every single game. Mac Jones had first round running backs like Josh Jacobs that he was handing the football off to. Mac Jones had a bevy of first rounders in front of him on the offensive line protecting him. He doesn't have that same amount of talent with the New England Patriots. And again, it's one of those where these are the things that a guy like Tom Brady was able to mask. Mac Jones is not Tom Brady. And I think the biggest mistake that Bill Belichick has made so far is basically he's tried to come in and ask Mac Jones to be Tom Brady, which he is not. And again, I am not holding Mac Jones blameless, but four offensive coordinators in 3 consecutive years, that's not a good thing to go off of. I think the Patriots do need to start fresh at the quarterback position. This is going to be a quarterback heavy upcoming draft. And if they're going to be picking in the top five, New England definitely has to find now at least their true heir apparent to Tom Brady. And I think they do it with a new general manager and a new head coach because I don't see Bill Belichick's ego allowing him to listen to Robert Kraft when Robert Kraft more than likely tells him, you can still coach this team, but we have to get somebody else in here to be the general manager. I don't think Bill Belichick is going to allow that to happen. Thus, I think that the Patriots will have a new head coach and a new general manager for 2024. At the end of the day, Tom Brady's looking better and better. And I say this because there was plenty of people who felt that it was a 50-50 deal between Brady and Belichick for the success of the New England Patriots. But now we're seeing that it was more Brady. And honestly, in my opinion, we saw that more when Brady left in 2020 and immediately won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And of course, each year that Brady was in Tampa, the Bucks were definitely in playoff contention. But again, you go back to Bill Belichick's time pre New England Patriots with the Cleveland Browns, one playoff appearance, one win. And then, of course, now the post Brady era, one playoff appearance, 0 wins. And like I said, the ability of Tom Brady was able to mask so many of the deficiencies that Bill Belichick had. And it's one of those where lacking playmakers on both sides of the ball, you can get away with that when you have a star quarterback at times. But everybody's not a Peyton Manning. Everybody's not an Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's not a Tom Brady. These three future Hall of Fame quarterbacks have had the innate ability to do that over their respective careers. But at some point, whatever you can't do is going to show up. And Tom Brady was able to elevate the play of the guys around him, especially on the back end of his tenure with the Patriots. He came into a scenario when he became the starter back in 2001. A lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball with the likes of Willie McGinnis, Ty Law, Teddy Bruschi, just to name a few. Excuse me. And then the Patriots transitioned to more of a Brady team, but since then, Belichick didn't do him any favors during his final years there. And the same thing could be said for Mac Jones now. So, I mean, you look at the Patriots, one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and I think it's shown um, over their last 3 games. They have not hit 20 points. They scored 17 points in Miami, 17 points last Sunday at home against Washington, and then, of course, just 6 points yesterday in Frankfurt. New England's heading into their bye week and it's going to be an interesting stretch. They open up week 12. They're at the New York Giants, another struggling team that's in contention, if you want to call it that, for a top five pick. The Patriots still have road games with the Steelers, Broncos, and Bills, and then home games with the Jets, Chiefs, and Chargers. Not a lot of wins are in there. And again, if you're Robert Kraft, the time is going to be now to make a change. He's not going to do it midseason. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to, especially if you're Robert Kraft, you're not going to fire a guy like Bill Belichick midseason for what he has meant and what he has done for this franchise for nearly 25 years now. You're just simply not going to do that. But I think changes are coming. We're hearing boos at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. That is something that has never been heard because the last time that the Patriots were booed like this at home, you got to go back to their days when they still played at Foxborough Stadium. Okay. So it's one of those where these boos have not been heard at Gillette. And Robert Kraft wants to win. Robert Kraft, during his tenure as the principal owner of the New England Patriots, you're talking about a man that has 10 AFC championships to his credit, 6 Super Bowl championships. Guys like that, they want to win, they want to succeed, and I guarantee you, seeing Tom Brady leave and win in his first season in Tampa, I guarantee you that didn't sit well with a guy like Robert Kraft, because he knows that that could have been his team if the right personnel had been put around Brady. But nonetheless, this is going to be a very important offseason coming up. I think the struggles of the New England Patriots will continue. I'm not going to sit up there at 2-8 and say that this team is going to finish 2-15. Not necessarily. I think they will fight and scrap to get some wins, but I think a lot of changes are coming for this franchise. I don't see Mac Jones as a starting quarterback for this club in 2024. And I definitely think there's going to be a different voice at the coaching and general managing position come 2024 as well. Nothing lasts forever. Bill Belichick's run as the head coach of the Patriots has been one of the greatest that we've ever seen in professional sports. But all good things at some point must come to an end. And I think Belichick's days in Foxboro with the Patriots, in my opinion, are indeed numbered. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.